Welcome back. Kicking off today's video at the end of Baneri Spotlight Hour, but it is double transfer candy, and that's the important part for today's video because I have a lot of recent legendary Pokemon, including Tornadus and Rayquaza specifically, that I need to transfer for double candy right now. And for this, I want to make sure I have expanded group transfer on. So if you enable or check expanded group transfer, that's going to let you actually mass transfer legendary Pokemon, event Pokemon. So you got to be careful with it, right? You got to make sure you know what you're selecting when you do it. But now, with this and not shiny, if I do a search for all of my Rayquaza caught within the last 2 weeks, excluding the shinies, I can just sort by favorite, and it'll put my two favorited ones at the top. The rest of them can be selected and mass transferred. I don't need to keep any of these with bad IVs that aren't shiny. Transfer 117 Rayquaza for 234 candies and 33, how many was it? Anyway, I have 427 Rayquaza XL candy. So I'm just going to do that for a few more Pokemon because I need the candies for them. Because that's kind of what today's video is about, candy. So there goes the extra Gothita. Now you might run into this occasionally with the expanded transfer where you can't transfer it. Check to see if the Pokemon has been a buddy. If you've walked with the Pokemon, you won't be able to transfer it with mass transfer. But Archon, it was fun having you as a buddy. But I found another one with better IVs. Sorry about that. Now, for the bulk of today's video, we are going to talk about my 1,047 rare candy and what to do with them. If you're struggling, if you don't know which Pokemon to put your rare candy into, if you do a lot of raids and they're taking up a lot of space in your bag, for me, almost, half my bag space is rare candy at this point. Let's just talk about which Pokemon are worth dumping rare candy into. We're going to focus mostly on raid Pokemon and rare Pokemon. But if you do enjoy PvP, there's plenty of good resources to look up. I'll link to some in the description if you want to see which Pokemon are best in PvP. And at that point, you can just focus on putting rare candies into the ones that you need. And that's kind of going to be the overall theme of the video. If you're here to have me tell you exactly what to put rare candies into, I can't really do that because the answer is going to be different for everyone. So we're just going to go over, we're going to talk about a lot of Pokemon, and then you can go through your collection and decide which ones are worth the rare candies for you. Okay, it's a lot later now, hence the lighting, but I just wanted to jump in here earlier in the video to say one thing I don't recommend doing with your rare candy is using it with the intention of converting it to Candy XL, because I have 1,000 rare candy right now. That translates to 10 Candy XL, and especially for legendary Pokemon now where you're guaranteed at least 3 Candy XL per raid, I just don't think it's worth using your rare candy when Candy XL is now a lot easier to get. The difference between a level 40 and a level 50 Pokemon is so small that you're probably better off just bringing Pokemon to level 40 with your rare candy and then worrying about the XL later. But it's up to you. I just wouldn't use it that way. 1,000 to 10, that's a terrible conversion rate. So what I'm going to start with is actually Pokedex entries. And I would say that these are, depending on the Pokemon, these aren't the highest priority for rare candies because typically Pokemon that aren't legendaries are a little bit more accessible. So obviously for Kanto and Johto, I'm full. For Hoenn, it's just Kecleon that I'm missing. When we get to Sinnoh, just a couple mythicals. 3 mythicals, actually. There's one after Darkrai that we don't have. But once we get to Unova, start seeing some gaps in my Pokedex. So for a Pokemon like Pansear, for example, this is a regional Pokemon. It's only available in certain parts of the world. I cannot catch this Pokemon without traveling out of the country, which, of course, right now is not really an option. So to put rare candies into a Pokemon like this to get the evolution, that's definitely a possibility. You can see I haven't evolved Tympole, and that's really just because I don't like looking at Palpitoad. I've caught plenty. Caught 64 of them. I have enough candy to evolve. I've just transferred them all because I don't like Palpitoad. For Seawaddle and Swadloon, I've only caught 6 Seawaddle. I don't have enough candy yet for the full evolution to Leavanny. And because of the way the Seasons update has affected spawns in Pokemon Go, I don't know when I'm going to see Seawaddle. They're not very common. We have events running all the time in Pokemon Go now. It's a lot harder to come across Seawaddle in the wild. Then you have Pokemon like Gothita, Gothorita. I haven't evolved to Gothitelle yet because, again, this Pokemon isn't really common. In fact, I haven't seen one in months, just because of the Seasons update. And then there are Pokemon that are just rare all the time. Tortuga, I've only ever seen 1. Archon, I've only ever seen 4. So those are Pokemon that could also be deserving of rare candies if you really care about completing your Pokedex. If you really want to fill in your Pokedex, rare candies on rare Pokemon that you need to evolve, totally valid. On the other hand, these Pokemon will be eventually available at some point. You know, I'm sure we'll get some kind of Adventure Week event in the future where maybe Tortuga and Archon will be featured. Here's the thing you have to remember with Pokemon Go. Everything will become available eventually. Typically, Pokemon are rare when they're first introduced, but as time goes on, they'll be featured in more and more events, and you'll have more and more opportunities to catch them. So if you're just patient, eventually, you'll get the opportunity to see more of these Pokemon, most likely. So when you're using a resource like Rare Candy, which you typically get as a raid reward, it's a little bit more premium of a resource than something like Stardust, which you earn just by catching Pokemon. So if you want to just be patient and wait to catch enough of these Pokemon to do the evolutions, that's totally fine. If you want to focus on legendary Pokemon or raid attackers, mostly legendaries, right? Well, here's what you want to look for. This is the comprehensive DPS spreadsheet from GamePress. And the way it works, it's very versatile. You can search for a lot of things, but if you're looking specifically for Pokemon of a certain type, if you want to know what we're using it for today is to look for the best attackers of each type. So if you want to do that, you're going to type **, and the type. So let's start with Psychic, because I see it there. So what that's going to do is essentially search for a Psychic type Pokemon with 2 Psychic type moves, and then sort them by DPS. And if you check best here, it'll only show you the best move set for that Pokemon. So for example, if I uncheck it, you can see Mega Mewtwo Y is up here twice, Mewtwo X is up here twice. If I check best, just their best move set. So if we go through, Mega Mewtwo, both not available. Shadow Mewtwo with Confusion and Psystrike is the best Psychic type attacker currently available in Pokemon Go. So if you have a Shadow Mewtwo from battling Giovanni, that is a great candidate for using Rare Candy on if you want to have the best Psychic type attacker. Below that, Mega and Shadow Alakazam, and then we get to regular Mewtwo, which is considerably less DPS, but still one of the best Psychic type attackers. So Mewtwo, always a great option. Let's go through some of the more useful types in raids. For ground types, Mega Garchomp, Primal Groudon, neither of which are available yet. Therian Form Landorus, which is coming next week. Best ground type DPS. So if you have Landorus right now, or if you're watching this after the Therian form is out, great Pokemon to drop a bunch of rare candies into if you have the extras. Below that, Shadow Mamoswine, Mega Swampert. And again, typically the legendaries are going to be the best targets for rare candy because every Landorus basically costs you $1, right, to do the raids. Whereas Shadow Mamoswine, I mean, you've probably caught plenty of Swinub, you have a lot of candies already. The Shadow is just a matter of finding the right Team Rocket stop. That's not going to cost you anything to get more of them. But a legendary, that's a very expensive hobby. In the realm of electric Pokemon, Shadows at the top, Electivire, Raikou, Zapdos, Magnezone. For non-Shadows, non-Megas, Therian Form Thundurus, we talked about it recently. Great attacker. Same with Zekrom. These are both very, good targets for rare candy. For water type Pokemon, Ash Greninja, which who knows if we're actually going to get that in Pokemon Go. Mega Swampert, Primal Kyogre, Shadow Swampert with Water Gun Hydro Cannon, best DPS. But if you want to get into, well, if you want to get into legendaries, I mean, Kyogre is, there it is. It's down here. Is it a great target? I would say probably not, because we have things like Kingler, you know, a Pokemon that you don't need to most likely spend a ton of rare candies on to max out. For ice type attackers, again, you're not really going to see any legendaries in the top attackers here. So if you're looking for an ice type attacker, there's other options. Shadow Mamoswine, great one, pretty accessible. Galarian Darmanitan, fun one. Fighting is another very useful type in Pokemon Go, but again, you're not going to see any legendaries here in the top attackers. Mega Lucario, we don't have it yet. Mega Blaziken, don't have it. Mega Heracross, same thing. Shadow Machamp, there it is. Shadow Machamp, best attacker. Probably don't need rare candies for that. Instead of going over every type, I'm just going to focus on types that actually have legendaries that are worth the rare candy, right? So, going to ghost type Pokemon, we have Mega Gengar, of course. But a Mega, you know, it's a rental. You can only have one at a time. If you want to have more ghost type attackers. Gengar, still higher DPS than Giratina. But if you look at the second column, TDO, Giratina, 662, Gengar, 350. TDO stands for total damage output. That is how much damage the Pokemon is going to put out in total before they faint. So since Giratina has much better defensive stats, it stays alive longer in battle. And over the course of Giratina being in a battle, it'll deal a lot more damage than Gengar would. So, Giratina Origin Form as a Ghost-type attacker. Even though it's not the best DPS, still better overall damage output and a great Pokemon to use rare candy on. For flying types, Shadow Moltres tops the DPS charts. Wing Attack, Sky Attack, Shadow Moltres. And for fire types, Shadow Moltres also tops the DPS charts, excluding Mega Pokemon. So Moltres, great target for rare candies if you haven't had the opportunity to raid for a lot of them. Again, if you want to look at TDO, Reshiram, definitely better than Shadow Moltres here. So Reshiram is a great and tankier alternative for a fire type attacker. For rock types, Terrakion is the highest ranked legendary, and it's outclassed by a lot of much more accessible Pokemon. So Rhyperior, Tyranitar, Shadow Tyranitar, Rampardos, of course, great DPS. So I would say Terrakion, it's probably low priority as far as legendaries go. Now let's look at Dragon, probably the most overrepresented type among legendaries. Is it? I don't know. There's a lot of Pokemon that we don't really have here. Mega Rayquaza, Mega Garchomp, Black Kyurem, White Kyurem, Mega Latios. But if you look, of course, Rayquaza is up there. Rayquaza is a great Pokemon. If you want to put rare candies into that, we just had it. I did a ton of raids, so I don't need the rare candies. But again, if you only did one or two or a handful of raids, Rayquaza is still, it's a great overall attacker. It's a great generalist. And speaking of generalists, let's just go ahead and look at all Pokemon regardless of type. At the top, Mega Mewtwo, X and Y, and then Shadow Mewtwo. So that best overall psychic damage moveset is also one of the best, well, currently available overall DPS, general damage, Shadow Mewtwo. I'm making a strong case here. I might actually max one out in this video. And by max, of course, I mean level 40 because I don't have the XL candies to get to 50. So not max, level 40. All right, now if we exclude Megas and we skip the Megas, we get to Deoxys Attack Form. I absolutely would not recommend using Deoxys Attack Form for anything in Pokemon Go because it is such a glass cannon. It has terrible TDO, it has terrible defensive stats. Skip it, not worth it. If you're gonna put rare candies into Deoxys, maybe do it for Deoxys Defense Form if you want to use it in Great League. Shadow Moltres ranks pretty high in overall DPS here with a mixed moveset, Fire Spin, Sky Attack, regular Mewtwo, more Shadow Pokemon, Ash Greninja. I wonder if we're actually gonna see that. Lots of Megas, lots of Shadows, but at this point, I feel like we've been through everything that's probably useful. Shadow Raikou. Again, the Shadows, Shadow Legendaries are great targets, especially Raikou and Moltres. All right, I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but let's take a quick look at PvP. All right, the Pokemon that you want for Great League, like I said, Defense Deoxys is going to be a great one. You really want to focus on the legendaries here. One, because most of them are not going to require XL candies, and two, because they're much harder to get candies for. So Defense Deoxys is a big one here. Cresselia is another one that's useful in Great League. Mew! We've had a lot of opportunities for Mew at this point. Well, I mean, 2 opportunities for Mew, right? And we get some candy, but Mew, obviously, you can only ever get 2 in Pokemon Go, and the candy that you get from the research. So if you want to double move it, definitely a good target for rare candy. Registeel has kind of fallen out of favor in Great League, but, you know, still a decent Pokemon to use. Once we get into Ultra League, we'll start seeing a lot more legendaries, but some of them need to be XL. Again, we have Cresselia, Registeel XL. So if you want to max one out and then some with some XL candy, there's an option for you. Giratina Altered. Giratina Origin is great for raids. Giratina Altered is much more popular in PvP. So you can't use your Giratina candies twice, but you might have 2 Giratinas that are worth using candies on. Articuno is another Pokemon that's good in Ultra League and one that I actually like using, so I would recommend it. And then, of course, Master League is where you're going to see the most. Obviously, all of these need to be XL, right? That's what Master League is these days. But Groudon, Melmetal, I would say just wait 3 days and open another box. Don't use your rare candies on it. But Groudon, Giratina, Mewtwo, Zekrom, Palkia, Shadow Mewtwo. It's good all around. Giratina A, Reshiram, Ho-Oh, and Lugia, both more useful in PvP than in raids, but I wouldn't go much further than that. Master League's a pretty small meta, so if you're a PvP player, check out PvPoke down in the description for rankings of Pokemon, plus other resources like the team builder and all that fun stuff. Now, while this lighting is a little bit dramatic and I kind of like it, I am going to turn some lights on. One light on. So with all that in mind, I'm actually going to start with the Pokemon that I need for the Pokedex because I have so many rare candies, and I've done a lot of raids for most of the most useful Pokemon. You know how many Rayquaza I've done, but like Moltres, for example, I have 165 candies. So what I'm going to start with are the Pokemon that I actually need to evolve for the Pokedex. This will take a good chunk of my candy. I have enough candy here. Well, let's just evolve this since I don't have to use rare candy. Here's a free evolution for the video. But again, the reason I'm starting with Pokemon I need for the Pokedex is just because I have most of the attackers I need, you know? And I have so many candies, Pokedex entry, that I'm okay with this. So Archon, I need 50 candies to evolve. I'm at 29 right now. Boom. 50 candies, and we'll evolve to Archeops. So is it Archon? If we're pronouncing this Archeops. Archon? Archon? Archeops? I like Archeops better. There it is. Flying lizard. We're halfway between dinosaur and chicken. And look at those ankle warmers. Rawr. Next up, why not its counterpart, Tortuga. I need to get to 50 for this. 50 candies, I can evolve to Caracosta. I literally only ever caught one of these and haven't seen one in a very long time. So, for the Pokedex, not a terrible use of rare candy. Caracosta, a new Pokedex entry. Moving on, we've got Swadloon. Swadloon I need a lot of candy for. But at some point, Seawaddle just disappeared from the wild. It was only really available during an event, and we see that a lot in Pokemon Go, where when a new Pokemon is released, it comes out as part of an event, and then kind of disappears after that event. So it's kind of shady, Niantic trying to get you to catch more, play more. You know, if you don't get enough during the event, then you resort to rare candy. But that's exactly what I'm doing. This is it. So there it is. Leavanny. Another Pokemon that I actually like. I should get these nicknames off. I like it. I just like grass types. All right. Next up, we have the regional. The regional Panseer going up to Simisear. It is going to require the stone, the 50 candies. And again, I can't get this right now. So, not a terrible use of candy. There it is. The last dopey monkey that I needed. Pokedexed. And finally, the one that so many people have been asking about. We walked 278.5 kilometers together. Oh, Noibat. Noibat, my friend. We're taking the easy way out. Actually, I've already put rare candy into this. Like, I didn't walk for all 308 of these candies that I have. But this is a 400 candy evolution. And 400 candy between catching and walking would take forever. Again, if you're patient, eventually this might be featured during an event. But I have 1,000 rare candy in my bag. So there it is, Noivern. Honestly, a cool looking Pokemon. Noivern in the Pokedex. It's finally done. 278.5 kilometers. So lots of new Pokedex entries to kick it off. And I still have 767 rare candy. So what I'm going to do is take a look at my Shadow Mewtwo. I have 416 candy. I don't actually need to use rare candy on this, but I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to max it out just because I am going to power this up to level 40. And it's actually going to overtake my original Mewtwo, the first ever Mewtwo in Pokemon GO, for the top spot. 4128 Shadow Mewtwo. Now, I do need to use an Elite TM to get Psystrike, but for Shadow Mewtwo, I think it's worth it. So there it is, my new best overall attacker, damage doer, output Pokemon, Shadow Mewtwo, has taken over the top spot. It's been a good run with you at the top, original Mewtwo. Now, to fully max out a Pokemon from level 20, which is the level that you typically catch Pokemon from a raid, to level 40, it takes 248 candy. So, if I want to take a Shadow Moltres, for example, I would need 351 rare candy for this, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to get myself to 351 Moltres candy, or actually slightly less, so that next month I can Pineapple that. I'll get 6 candies from it. 344 Silver Pineapple. Next month, when Shadow Moltres becomes Giovanni's Pokemon, and I want to catch a bunch of them, hopefully I'll get better IVs than what I have already. These are both pretty good, but I would prefer a 15 attack if I can get it. But I have those candies ready to go for when Shadow Moltres becomes available next month. Now, Reshiram and Zekrom are both Pokemon that I didn't really raid a whole lot when they were around, so I'm going to put some candies into these. Now, I don't have any worth maxing out, so I'm not going to go for the full, 248 on these, since I expect to raid them both when they come back to try to get one with good IVs, but there's 222 Reshiram candy. Even my lucky trade Zekrom with my mom came out pretty bad for a lucky trade. Oh, but I put the candy into it. It's got 350. Thundurus, after all those raids, I only have 102 candy. Let's give it some more. Again, along with Zekrom, great electric type attacker, 248 is what it would take to max one from level 20. With Therian Form Landorus coming back, I already have 225 candy, so after doing Therian Form raids, I'll probably get to 248 naturally. So I guess this doesn't need rare candy. So let's start going to, how about some mythical Pokemon? Obviously, mythical Pokemon, you really only get a chance to catch one time. 2 when the shiny gets released, like Celebi and Mew. So we'll put some candies into Victini. Shiny Celebi, I need to unlock a second move for PvP. So I'm going to get to 100 candy and do that. Spend 100,000 Stardust on it. Is it worth it right now? only because it's my favorite Pokemon. It needs better moves for PvP, but I love Celebi. Jirachi could use some candy here, in case I ever want to power it up. In the case of Mythicals, though, honestly, I typically keep these in range of Great League just because of the way things have worked. So just enough candy to unlock a new attack should be fine for me. And at this point, I've almost run out of Pokemon to use my rare candy on, but I'm down to 53. It's almost 1,000 bag space freed up. And I guess the reason I'm out of Pokemon is because, well, aside from like Tyranitar, you can see Rhyperior up here, I don't typically max out multiples of the same Pokemon. So I don't have, you know, multiple Kyogre, multiple Dialga, multiple of legendaries maxed out. I've got Raikou, I've got Zapdos, and that's just personal preference. That's just the way that I like to play the game. But obviously, if you just want to do the most damage possible, go ahead, max out 6 Mewtwo, max out 6 Landorus, Thundurus, Zekrom, whatever it is, whatever Pokemon you need, dump your candies into it. I'm going to leave links to PvPoke and the DPS spreadsheet down in the description, so if you want to take your time looking through that and figure out what Pokemon are going to be most useful, most beneficial for you, please click those links, check them out. And I hope this was helpful. See you in the next video. Bye.